Welcome back viewers, ladies, gentlemen, non-binaries and anyone with ears or other sound detection organs. Hope you enjoy. We are continuing with Chaos and Mayhem written by Lord Henry 7878. There is a link to the playlist in the doobly-doo. Chaos and Mayhem, a sexy space babes story part 36. Sashin was worried. Gore had spent the last few days poring over the data they'd received from Project Blacklight. He was on to something big, but he hadn't eaten or slept much. He always did this, so she took it as a sign that he'd either stumbled on something big or his body was just done when she found him passed out on the table in the grungy apartment they'd taken ownership of. Gore, Sashin shook him awake. Gore. HM. The kitty blinked blearily as he sat back up. You find something? She sat down with the sleepy male. A lot of the data from the other nobles points to something in the Maryland region. They call it purity control. Whatever it is, it's pretty big. There's talk of prisoners disappearing, equipment rerouted, mass graves, sentient trafficking, but nothing on what it actually is. Gore pulled up the things on the Omnipad. Ready to do a little detective work? A lot of these files mention a Springfield hospital. Yes, Sashin said. But not till after you sleep, you get? I'm saying this as your commanding officer, not your wife, she added sternly. Gore would power through on stimulants and pure unadulterated fuck you if he could. That's an order. I need you at your best. Gore collapsed back on the table with a thunk. Sashin went and found Shrek and Darach. The older girl was in the bathroom with Shrek, helping her cough up a hairball in the toilet. Hey boss, Shark said between hark noises. Hark, 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 hark. Walk. The hairball splashed into the toilet. Darach gave her a few thumps on the back. Saddle up, bitches. Sashin looked at the hairball with barely a hint of distaste. She'd seen far worse.
I woke up to yelling outside, and someone pounding on every door with those beating sticks the guards here carried.
Everybody up. Out. We're under attack. Yup, I heard Captain Vgyn out there. A few soldiers stormed in and dragged me out of bed and into the hall. Insurgents are attacking. Vgyn and her bitches started shoving us forward. You're going to defend the lab. She and her soldiers herded us out towards the hospital. Indeed, I could hear explosions all around, and bits of debris rained down all around us as we were packed in like sardines. You're going to shield this place with your bodies, she bitched. The work here is far more important than you worthless pricks. We can always get more subjects. Whatever. I sat down on a gurney as things exploded outside. A window blew in, carrying bits of blue gore with it. All right, be careful, Gore said over the radio as Shrek and Darach fired off more shells. They are moving the prisoners into the hospital proper. Try not to get too many people killed. Human people, anyway. The soldiers and doctors are expendable. Sashin looked through her binoculars as Gore fired that magnificently large rifle of his. A Shilvati Marine exploded with enough force to shatter a nearby window. Just like that, their investigation had become a rescue. She hoped these aliens were decent warriors. Sashin and the girls continued the shelling throughout the morning. It was nearly noon when they advanced on the building. Sashin kicked out a Marine's knee and inserted her knife just behind the girl's chin. It was a pity. The shill girl probably wasn't old enough to buy a black blood in Alliance space. Oh well. Sashin hadn't been hired to care.
I was startled by a gunshot.
It echoed, deafening, in the small corridors. I could smell the gunpowder. It always amazed me, even in the worst situations, I still loved that smell. It also meant that somebody had smuggled in a gun. I looked around for the prisoner, and had a small heart attack. It wasn't a human. Dr. Malfoy held an enormous pistol in her shaking hand. "This is wrong, Vgyn," she yelled, obviously deafened. "And what are you gonna do about it, Doctor?" The officer sneered. "Human weapons are useless, don't you know?" Malfoy shook her head. "This is the Wildy Magnum. It uses ammunition meant for large animals. Well, a shortened version. It also means that," she shot the soldier on the left of Vgyn. The girl fell to the floor, screaming as she clutched the hole in her stomach. "They go right through our armor. I will have you hanged for this," Vgyn growled. "I think you're the one who's gonna hang," Malfoy said calmly, growing more confident with the pistol. "Somebody's going to expose what happens here." "I don't think so." Vgyn slapped the pistol out of the doctor's hand and fired her own weapon into Dr. Malfoy's chest. I could see the doctor's rib cage as she fell to the floor, choking as blood splattered out of the hole. That did it. One of the other prisoners grabbed a scalpel and sunk it into a Marine's neck. The place plunged into chaos as we all picked up whatever we could find. I shoulder-checked a Marine, sending her sprawling over a table. Thinking quickly, I grabbed a bone saw and flicked the switch. The circular blade spun to life as I dragged it against her neck. Oh fuck me, all I saw was blue as the blood sprayed in my eyes. I sighed and wiped with one hand before wrapping the cord around another Marine's neck and pulling hard. She choked and thrashed as I robbed her of precious oxygen. The other prisoners also sprang to work, some holding soldiers down as others cut their throats or otherwise hurt them really, really bad. I grabbed one Marine whose helmet had been shattered and dragged her face against the rough concrete wall. She screamed as the sharp concrete bits tore the flesh open, leaving a blue smear. As I threw the Marine to the floor, the other prisoners descended upon her, kicking and stomping and stabbing with medical implements and even beating her with a gurney. I grabbed a table and spun around, swinging it at arm's length right into another Marine, right before slipping on the splattered blood and face-planting. One of the Marines gave me a vicious kick in the side, and I felt the breath leave me as the kick sent me sailing across the room. She came in with another stomp, and I felt a crack as her foot smashed my nose. As she tried to bring her foot down again, I grabbed the limb and twisted it to the left with a sharp snap. God, I hoped somebody was filming this. I had just jabbed a massive fucking knife into the Marine's ankle when everything above her knees just disintegrated. I wiped more blood out of my eyes and looked up at the newest additions to the fight. 3 soldiers stood there wearing, well, it was weird. I saw an old movie when I was in college about the Bosnian Civil War, behind enemy lines. It looked like they'd stolen the uniforms from that movie, but everything was more high-tech. Also, they looked like cats. There were 3 of them. Whatever. One pulled me up and placed the doctor's fallen pistol in my hands. I took aim and blew a hole through another Marine. By now, the fighting had spilled out of the hospital and onto the main campus. I wasn't sure where to go, so I just followed the cats as they fought their way through the chaos. By now, guards were running in with shields and what looked like grenade launchers. These weapons fired canisters in low arcs. When they hit the ground, white fog spilled out. Yup. Alien grenade launchers. Tear gas. One of the cats yelled. They all pulled on masks. These suckers all looked like hoods with a face window rather than, well, a gas mask. Must have been the fur. One of them passed me a 4th mask. Whatever. I was choking at this point. I grabbed the hood and fitted it over my head, greedily choking down the clean air. I followed the cats past more guards beating down prisoners, past prisoners stabbing more guards, past another prisoner accidentally blowing himself up with a homemade bomb and taking several other prisoners and guards with him. One of the guards picked up her own arm, dazed. Over there, prisoners were calmly passing out weapons from the armory. Others forced guards into burning trash cans. Damn. The biggest cat kicked open the door to the admin building and reared back as a guard ran out with a shattered helmet. The cat grabbed her by the helmet and swung her face first to the concrete path. Blood sprayed out as her face made contact with the floor. We all ran inside. The cats opened fire before the smallest one, who seemed to be wearing a green turban, kicked in another door. Inside sat a desk with a number of screens set in the wood. She immediately picked up a laptop off the desk inside and smashed it over the head of the shill inside before she pulled out an Omnipad and started working on it. Images flashed over the desk screens as a download bar appeared. Once it filled, they all ran out towards the gate. I followed, grabbing a keycard off a severely injured guard as we went. Turned out to have been a good idea, the guards had closed the gate. One of the cats smashed in the window to the security booth, and I tossed her the card. She slid it through the slot, and the gate opened just as a battered red pickup pulled up. We all dived into the truck bed as prisoners started streaming out. End of chapter. If you enjoyed, like, subscribe, click the bell so you don't miss any episode and do all the other YouTube stuff. Visit and support the author, all the relevant links are in the doobly-doo, and comment your opinions, good or bad. And I'll see you next time. And as usual, have a wonderful day.